Gavin. Hi, Steve. So here we are. This is step one. We've taken the ears out of the puppy, or taken his tape out of his ears, and we'll add a picture of what his ears looked like when they came out. So this is the tape, and you want to make the tape long enough that it goes from the top inside of the ear and down kind of where you start to have the ear. I'll go ahead and show you that, but right here I've cut out the tape, or I mean I've cut the tape. It's probably about 1 3/4 inches, 2 inches. So here we are. Well, that looks like more like a, you know, 2. Well, you're over. Back up here. So it's about 2 inches or so. Anyway, so 2 inches or so. I'm gonna show you, because you're gonna need to calculate it as his ears get, you know, he gets older and they get bigger. So anyway, so I take this, and then we come in with this is the clear grooming adhesive. So what I'm going to do is actually come in and do a thin coat of adhesive. You'll want to move everything away, and you may have to, sometimes it blows. It makes them go upside down. So just a fine coat. I'm going to do that, and then I'll put this back on. So okay, so you missed all that fun. So you want to do a thin coat. You can see here that it's kind of got a little bit of a, I don't know, a shiny color. What you're wanting to do is wait a few seconds. Initially, if you touch it, it's still really wet, so it'll come off on your hand. Once it's really to the point that you want to put it in the ear, you can touch it, and it'll stick to your finger. Like this is pretty close, not totally yet. Want to wait a second or so more. So this is the comb that we use to take out the ears initially, which Terry already did, so we're not going to do that again. But his ears were like this, taped up side by side, and right now it's hard to tell if, as his ears grow, this may be a little bit too far over, but what we'll do is we'll work with you, and kind of when you take them out next time, we'll take a look and see how they're looking. And then you probably, we'll have Terry go ahead and do a little bit of trimming around his ears. Did you do that? You were, okay, turn it off. Here, so he can.
Why don't you talk through it?
I don't want you to tell him that.
So it doesn't get caught in the tape.
Okay, we're going to tell. So Steve, no, is it on? So Steve, what Terry's doing is he's doing some trimming so that the hair between the ears is shorter, because that'll be important when you're trying to do the brace. And also, I'm going to have him do a little bit of trimming here on the ear, because what happens is as the ruffs get longer hair, it's harder to see where the crease is in the ear. So we'll do that and just kind of give you a visual of what, it's going to be a moving target. So probably what we'll have to do is, when in 3 or 4 weeks when the ears come out, you can go ahead and do a video, send it to us so we can kind of see how his ears look. And maybe we could do like a live thing, you know, I think Skyping or something. And I've never done it, but I know that it's relatively easy, and we have a setup where we could do that. And we could kind of actually, you know, watch each other or I can watch as you're trying to do it. So anyway, he's just doing a little bit. This is with a thinning shear, if you can't see that well enough. He's just kind of wanting to get that, you know, all that fringe and fluff. You don't want to go crazy, but I don't know if you trim corgis, but in collies we have to. And he's probably going to end up having a real hairy head, so you'll need to do some of it. But as you can see, he's total stress grenade, won't stop moving, you know, really a busy puppy. Actually, he is a doll and very easygoing. So, okay, so go ahead and turn it off. What are you doing? Go ahead and just so we can see what Terry's doing with the trimming. I'll come over here and help hold him so you can really see, so you can see more what he's doing. So when you're doing the head stuff, it really helps if you have a second person that can kind of stand back here with one hand and then just hold under the muzzle with the other hand. And if he started to move, I would just, you know, hold the muzzle. And then we tend to, if you can, he's obviously not agitated at all, so some of them can get really fidgety, so we just will hold like this and then just kind of rub with another finger. It helps to kind of soothe him. But for him, you know, he's just very easygoing and mellow, and I don't have to do that. So here again, he's just kind of trimming a little bit on the edges of the ear. And then going in here. Just kind of evening it up. He doesn't use shears on this. He uses thinning, or he doesn't use the straight edge, whatever the regular scissors. He uses the thinning shears. And do you know what size those are, honey? How many little thingies it has?
46 teeth.
46 teeth.
It's like 7.5 inch.
7.5 inch scissors. And again, if you don't have that type of thinning shear, up here we have Pet Edge, and I think, you know, it's something that you could order directly from them online, and they tend to have fabulous pricing, much better than 3C's for shears. So if you'd like, you know, and they're not horribly expensive, and Terry can go in and show you exactly what he likes as far as a thinning shear on them. So again, he's just kind of cleaning it up along where the crease is, so you can kind of see. You're going to be doing a lot of the navigating by feel. And again, this is the first time that we've had his ears over, so, you know, it's something that we just kind of adjust each time we put him over as to where the break wants to be. We can't really, I think I may have put them where they were kind of breaking, but as he grows, that may change a little bit. So when I say break, you're wanting to look for eventually where it's wanting to tip naturally here on the side. Can you see that, Beck? Okay. And that's the hardest thing, is trying to figure out where that should be. I don't want to take the chance of putting them over too little and then we really lose being able to break. I mean, there's no way that they would stay this heavy and floppy. As he gets older, they're going to want to go straight up. And so really what you're looking for is you want that round ear here where it's creasing and just tipped forward. Why don't you show him too on the side of the head what Kristen had showed you about coming in here. So come over here, Beck. She needs to come over here so you can so he can see at the angle. So you want to explain what you're doing?
Just keeping the scissors parallel to the side of the head and running it along between the skull and the ear.
And so you're not wanting to come in here. You're wanting to just more trim, so where it's wild here, you're coming in along the side of the head and giving it more of, so you're bringing it in here, so you don't have a lot of extra there where they can tend to get more. When they're this young, you're really wanting to avoid doing a lot of any trimming really back here on the back skull, particularly as they're young, and even as they're, the first year and a half, that's going to end up filling in. But in the meantime, you don't want it to look like it drops off. He has a nice back skull, and Joy really brought that in. So, okay, so next we're going to go ahead and start with the tape. Let the fun begin. Zoom in on this so he can maybe see this in a couple minutes. And now I just come in and grab it just lightly. Here, got the edge. And then you come over and you have your trusty handler, give him kisses and all kinds of stuff like Carrie was just doing. And then bring him over here to the edge of the table, honey. So Beck, probably coming over. Now? Okay, so we're gonna come in, we're gonna lift it up. Terry is holding him here so he can hold the muzzle like we were just talking about. He's got the back of his neck sometimes if they really become, go ahead and hold him so he doesn't turn. So turn the ear like inside out like this, and you're going to come in. This is actually the brace. And Terry, why don't you go ahead and pick him up because he looks like he's going to pull. So when they're little like this, if your assistant can hold them, it makes it easier because they can't run away, can't move away. So set it there. You're going to build like a little bit of a teepee. You're going to come in with the second brace right here. So you're bringing it down. You know, it could have even been a little bit lower, but we'll catch that when we do the brace. So this tape is activated by warmth, and so we tend to, when we put it on, we just really want to get a good seal. So I'm actually moving it, but I'm not moving my fingers like this. I'm just holding the ear and kind of doing this as I go along all the edges. And again, sometimes you can get kind of it buckles up, you know, you got a little bit of bubble, and now's your window of opportunity to slide that down. Also, I know that I didn't get any hair, but you want to check and make sure each time you put a piece of tape on that you're not catching any hair, because you need to pull that out, get it out right away, because within, like even now, it would be much harder because it's starting to set up to pull it. And that really makes it a crappy experience for them, and they aren't as well behaved. So then you take a second of your 4 pieces of tape, you come in here, again brushing this back, you're crossing it. What we're doing is we are making a brace so that when we do, again, check your, yep, see I got a little bit of hair there. And if you get it right away, you get it out. If you get a big glob of hair in here, what you can do is just go ahead and use your little pad here, use some Zo-Eze on it, come in carefully and just set it over the little bit of hair for, you know, a few seconds. Take this and just comb it right out. Okay. So I'm just going in, I'm really wanting to make sure that it's, see that kind of was a wrinkle, but I'm just, at this point you can actually still move it. So I'm actually taking my fingers and kind of pulling the ear, smoothing along the tape. So you don't have any bubbles or wrinkles. Okay. So, okay. So now we've got it in both sides, and your assistant, you want them to just run their thumb down, and they kind of just flatten it out and rub it all in while you go and you start the brace part of it. So Terry will work on that. Well, I'm coming over here, and I'm taking the tape. Actually, I need to measure it. So Terry, so you have your assistant. He's gonna hold his head because I need to figure out how wide to make the brace. And that's just a little thing that got caught, so just ignore it. You want a whole strip. So I'm gonna come in, probably, I'm gonna make it about this, a little bit less, honey, a little less, that's a little too much. So I'm gonna do it about this wide. And that wide right now, okay. Yeah. So this is about 4.5 inches that I'm gonna do for this time with his ears. It's gonna change, you know, it'll vary as he gets bigger, but for right now, so we're cutting it at about 4.5 inches. And then what we do in the center of it, and you know, it probably could have even been a little bit longer, but so what we do is here is we take it like this, and you twist it, and this makes your brace that brings the 2 ears together. Because what we're trying to work on getting his ear set up on his head, and his sire had a decent ear set, but his sire's sire had a horrible ear set, very wide down on the head. So, and this guy, I think he has, you know, he has a nice size. They're probably bigger ears, but that's better than to have really tiny ears. Okay, so I'm going to take this now, move this over here again. What we didn't record was Becky and I trying to get the tape sprayed with the 4 pieces as they were blowing upside down and everything. The best thing to do is probably you put we put a paper towel down because it's really sticky and it'll get on anything that you're working around. So you want to come in probably, I don't know, is that about 10 inches away? And so you want to get a nice sheen. You don't want a great big puddle, but you want it to be well covered. And then while we're doing that, we can go ahead and after you place this, which we're going to do next, you're going to take another short piece about the length of what we just did these pieces here. So it'll be about like this. And what you're going to do is you're just going to secure this once you get it in. So I'll cut 2 like that, flip them upside down. And the best way to deal with this crazy tape is to just kind of catch it with your fingernail on the edge. So, because if you put your finger on it, it tends to want to stick to your finger, and which is counterproductive. Okay. So then on this, you could go ahead and do these 2. Make sure that they don't flip upside down, because sometimes they can do that. You want to be sure that you have enough adhesive, but not too much. So really the best way, you're looking at it, you want to make sure it's covered, it's got the shiny all over it, and then go ahead and wait for that to set up. Okay, so now we're taking the brace, and can you hold that, honey? So this will be sufficient. If it's too long, then that's not good either. So what I do is, so this is the sticky side that's going to go in against his ears right in here. Okay, and so you want to place the left first. So I've got my finger, this is sticky side, this is going in his right ear, just like this. And this is where they can get kind of fussy, and it never fails. So no, come over here because I want to see him to see where I'm putting it. So what you're wanting to do is kind of set the brace so it's just above the top of his head. So probably kind of above these little creases here. So you set it in here. This again is one that you want to make sure it's going straight across. You want to get any little hairs out because there are some. And he's going to be really a dream to work on, because I can tell a lot of them are pitching a fit by this point. So you want to really make sure this is well attached, because if you don't and you move too quickly to the other side, this can slide, and then you want it to be the same level. Okay, you okay? All right. And okay, so then you want to come over here, flip this out, and then come in. You want to make sure, so you can see that this is a little bit too high. So we're going to move it down, but roll it so it's flat. And that looks pretty good. So, and what I'm saying looks pretty, and this has some hair in it. So again, this is the time to go back in, make sure, because it'll just drive him crazy, and he'll be digging at his ears. And then here, going in here, making sure there isn't anything pooling. You're gonna do that pretty much all the way. So you want to flatten this out as much as you can, and here, and now you can see that they're relatively even, and that they're coming across here because you want them to be pretty much like they are right now. So you can see that they're both nice and even here. Okay, so really this is important. So really this will make the difference between 3 or 4 weeks. And just again, you're rubbing this really so it's down nice all along. This is okay. This just rolled, this little bit rolled a little bit, but just going in, doing again the thing where you're moving the ear, because the ear, it's kind of, you can move the skin around it. So you're just more massaging that in, trying to activate that tape. If you get wrinkles kind of like that right there, just stretching that out by taking it on the ear and kind of just not sliding on the tape, but more, you know, pulling the ear and the tape. It obviously doesn't hurt because he would not be happy. Can you hold his muzzle a little, honey? Okay, so now you want to go in and you want to take the other two pieces that we started and you want to place it over here. You want to catch just a little bit under this area. So you take your piece. Okay, can you get that?
It's the light, the light, when I stand in certain places, the light is really bad, but,
Is that better? Okay, why don't you come over here? Is
Yeah.
this better? Go come over around here.
I just focused on the puppy.
All right, okay. Okay, so you take your other piece, make sure, again, you don't have any, and I can feel a few little pieces, so I'm making sure to pull those out. So I'm going in now and placing it just a tad lower, but you want it to go up kind of the center, actually. I made that kind of off to the side, but it's okay. What this piece is doing is this is securing your brace between both ears. So you want it to just go down over the brace here and have it still connected as well to the brace pieces in the back. So go ahead and do the second one, and then you can go in and just really rub them both at the same time. So again, turn the head here, honey. Okay, so pull this down, take it here, drop it down just a little bit. Be sure to navigate towards the tip of the ear. Now on this, I did get it a little bit longer, so what I do before I really check loose hair ends, so what I do is you carefully, I didn't secure it, and I'm going to come in and just cut that tip off so it just will make it so the tape isn't hanging out. Again, you can see that it kind of is wanting to wrinkle here, so just smoothing that out. Really working these are your, you know, the securing braces. Again, this is all you have that's bracing his little ears, is that little butterfly kind of thing that you made between the two. But see where it's located, where we've got his ears up, the leather is not touching, but the hair is. So the leather edge probably is right about, well, it's probably like a ½ inch or so. This is nice. This is the way this looks is a good spacing for now. You're going to have to figure it out. We'll help you as he grows, and as you're trying to figure out where to put the brace. And hopefully he'll just end up with a really good ear set as far as sitting up on his head. And hopefully after, you know, you'll only have to do this till about 6 months, and then at that point it's just a matter of figuring out the brace. So the next step is we want to figure out where to make these babies break. So you kind of want to look where the break was the last time. Come on over here. So here you can kind of see that's where it, and that may be based on where we put it, but I think when I did them, I kind of went with what his ears were naturally wanting to do at that point. So you want to kind of follow that. That's going to be your guide. So this one, it doesn't seem as clear. It makes it more challenging when you're doing this. When you're just tipping them in the future, it'll be much easier, because this wants to make them stand up more. But so I would go ahead and doing this, placing in this ear first, and then I actually would do a cheat thing where I'm taking my finger, rolling this over, because as you fold this, the tape wants to kind of let go. But we want to go ahead and get this, and we want it to be flat. We don't want it to be going in. We don't want the tip to be going in here like this or out here like this. We want this to really, you know, so they're flat across. Okay, so I like where that one is, and then I want to come in and I want to do the same thing on the other ear over here so it matches this one. This one's giving us a little bit of a sense of a break, so we want to go with that because it's much easier to work with where the ear is kind of interested in breaking. So what I do is you get used to just kind of feeling. You've got to feel where the ear leather is versus the hair. You know, his ear leather's in at probably about a 1/4 inch, and there's hair on the edge. But that's what it's looking like as far as the tipping. Now again, Terry did a little bit of trimming on the hair, so as his hair grows out, you're just going to kind of have to, you know, work through that. Again, I think we can do this via video. So now I'm taking, and I'm actually just kind of bending where I want it to be, because I want to come in. I'm going to make adhesive pillows, stick them on the tip here, and then bring them over. But so that kind of gives me a guide. I'm not having to fumble through. So now I'm going to go over here. Okay, so now what we're making is little pillows. And when they're this little, you kind of have to fudge a little bit to make them small enough to fit under their ear. So something like that. And then what I've been doing is just cutting a tinge off the end here. But you know what? I don't even know that you're going to have to do that. I think by the time you do them, hopefully he will have grown that you won't have that to deal with. So, but this is the same method of when you're just tipping the ears. This is exactly what you're going to do without the brace in between. And so then you take it and you place this along here. When they're bigger, you want to make it so that the pillow is bigger and comes out, so you end up having sticky around all the edges. So you come in here, and then you come here. Again, I'm making this smaller because he doesn't have a very big flap. So when they're bigger though, you want it to pretty much be square. So it'll be the same, this distance here will be the same as this here, and then you want to have the sticky, so this would come out farther and the sticky would be here. But because he's a puppy, again, it's smaller. So, and then what we do on these is you spray them. You want to try to get, and then I take a corner and flip it up. I don't want it to stick to the paper towel, so the best thing to do is just kind of flip it carefully like that. Don't push it. Make sure it's up a little bit. Yeah, so it's kind of free floating. Spraying the other side. And then we're going to go ahead and wait a little bit of time and put them in. Probably about 20 seconds or so. I've come back over here to see if they're ready. And it does. They feel sticky. Take them by the edge. Okay. And then we're coming back over here. So what we're going to do is we want to lift. We've got that. The break is right there. And we want to put this. You want to put this so it's not right on the crease. You want to put it so that the break is like here, so we've got a little bit of space. You don't want it right up against the crease. So you do this. This is a little bit smaller, which you accomplish by cutting off that little bit of end. So you bring it down, and what I typically do is I lightly place it. I haven't pushed it down yet. Make sure you got all the hair out, and I just leave it like this until I put the other one in. And the reason why is that way if I need to do any kind of adjustments, I can. So again, you come in here, flip this up, take it the most narrow distance. Again, placing it so the corners are at the tip. And you bend it down. And actually the way, with the size of his ears at this point, when you're bending it down, it hits the inside here, the tip. And then you feel, does everything feel okay? You got all the hair out. And I'm feeling that that's fine. So now I'm wanting to take, and you want to apply pressure around the tip here. So just putting it again, like I said, you're not lifting your fingers, you're just pushing, you're actually applying pressure between the ear and your thumb. So I'm applying pressure here and then moving the ear here. You can go ahead and push it along this area. Again, pushing, making sure, being anal about getting the hair out. You know, making sure that he's good here. And then, I mean, where's the little sucker? Go ahead and turn it off. And then lastly, we come in with the little slicker and just come in here, you know, and fix that so that, you know, if you do decide to take a picture, he's darling. You can tuck that under. But see, that's why I was trying to not, you know, to keep it so that we didn't have a bunch of excess tape over the edges. So there you go. That's, you know, that's what it'll look like. I call it the Ethel Mertz or the cleaning lady look.